Let's return to our top story now. And President Trump's visit to the UK. I'm joined by Trevor McCrisken, an associate professor in U.S. politics and international studies at Warwick University. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Let me ask where you think all of this, particularly Trump's interview with The Sun and his kind of "I told you so" criticism, leave Theresa May right now.
Well, I think this was always a risky visit to have, particularly given the way that this week was going for Theresa May. But the interview in The Sun is so much beyond, I think, what anyone anticipated the intervention in the Brexit discussion might be by this president. I think there were fears that, you know, he might tweet something or he might say something off the cuff at a press conference. But to give a major interview to a newspaper that's then published on the day of the major meeting that you're having with the Prime Minister, it really does undermine the position that the Prime Minister is hoping to establish with this president. Makes it very clear that he really thinks that the approach that her government is taking currently is the wrong direction on Brexit, and so it's a major intervention in this issue, and one that I don't think Theresa May will be at all happy about.
And just a detail here. I mean, is anyone taking issue with the fact that he said this is not the deal the people voted for? I mean, remember in the referendum, there was no deal. No one knew if this would be a hard Brexit or a soft Brexit, what form it would take, because all of this was unprecedented.
Yeah, and obviously he's giving a particular view on that, and we do know that he was, he's an admirer of Nigel Farage. They've met with each other on many times before, so there are individuals very close to the Leave campaign that he has associated himself with in the past, and so it's not surprising, perhaps, that he's taking the position that he's taking on Brexit. But as you say, there was no particular decision made around the Leave or Remain vote. It was really one that lacked detail, and that detail is being added afterwards. So any politician that claims this is not the Brexit that was voted on is really not talking with the level of precision that it would. He's suggesting that was there in that vote, and so he's trying to put across a very particular view that he thinks that the United Kingdom should fully leave the EU, whereas obviously for Britain's interests it's far better to have some kind of relationship, some positive relationship with the EU going forwards, and this government has tried to find a compromise that would be acceptable to the European Union members as well. And again, he's at loggerheads with them over trade and over security, so it's maybe not that surprising that he has these attitudes. I think it's more the way that this has been put out so publicly just before he's due to have those meetings at Chequers, and it really does make it incredibly difficult for the Prime Minister to argue now that she's going to try and improve that trade relationship with the United States going forward, because this president doesn't sound like that's what he wants.
Well, he is very clearly looking out for U.S. interests in that trade relationship and not interested at all in the EU here. But let me ask you, you brought up Brexit leader Nigel Farage. A few days ago, he said, how disgraceful it was that baby Trump balloon had been allowed to fly in London, that it was disrespectful to a sitting U.S. president. But I mean, what do Britons think? Should rules of protocol apply to a man who has very undiplomatically criticized other world leaders and their constituents so openly?
Well, I think that Donald Trump has certainly contributed to, shall we say, a lowering of political discourse over the couple of years that he's been in the White House and on the campaign trail beforehand. He certainly has no problems with saying incredibly negative, unbelievably offensive things towards a whole range of people. So it's no surprise, really, that this satirical reaction to his visit is there. It's a very symbolic thing, obviously, having this balloon flying over Parliament Square. But there's a much deeper sort of anger, I think, towards this president, as a lot of the people that will be protesting today don't like him as an individual, but they also have a whole range of issues, from climate change to race to immigration to gender issues, where they feel very strongly that the positions that he's taking are really out of kilter with what the majority of people, certainly in the UK, but in many other countries, also think. And so they're out there coming together in a kind of grand coalition of protesters against this visit to really air a whole range of positions that he's taken very, very different viewpoints on. So it's certainly not just the Brexit issue, but a whole range of issues where this president has kind of come in almost like he's wielding a wrecking ball, trying to change the way that political discourse happens. So, why not have a kind of engagement that's not dissimilar to those sorts of positions that he might take himself?
Okay. Trevor McCrisken joining us there. Thank you so much for that.